2023 was the year that I finally took a chance on myself. I made the decision that I was gonna start taking risks and figure out my path that was gonna make me happy and quit making excuses for why I couldn't take those risks anymore in my life. So this video isn't gonna be about me just sitting here tooting my own horn. However, I do have a ton to be proud of for what I've accomplished this past year, but honestly, I wouldn't have accomplished what I did or even take this leap if it wasn't for all of you believing in me and supporting me throughout all the years, many times when I honestly did not believe in myself. So I have so much to thank for all of you in this community, as well as my family. They've always believed in me, but sometimes you just don't believe it from your family. So having the support from you all honestly has made such a difference in my life. You've truly all changed my life for the better. This past year has been really exciting. It's been really scary. I've had a lot of highs and I've had some lows too, but I really want to first dive into the biggest part of this chapter for me of 2023, and that was making the decision to leave my 16-year government position at the hospital. Now, I did a full video on this, so definitely go check that out. I will link that below too, so you can hear all the full details of what led me to that decision. But I did just want to touch on it really quick because this job was something that truly was sucking my soul dry. Yeah, it was a very hard decision for me to make. And it was something I was toying with for a long time. So finally being able to pull the trigger and make that decision in April of 2023 changed my life. And that was the first stepping stone for me when I made that decision and actually shared that information with my boss and did that I think is when I really gained my own confidence. I think doing that just kind of opened the doors for me to be like, yes, you can do the hard things. You can take the risks. And that may seem like a simple thing to some people, quitting a job, but for me, that was a huge decision that I had to weigh back and forth. It was leaving what I thought was safety. It was giving up really good benefits in terms of medical care and health benefits and a pension. There was a lot that I knew I had to give up that was really challenging in that decision. And it was a struggle for me to make that decision for some of those reasons. But honestly, after I made the decision, it was easy. A lot of it got easier. None of it has been something I've sat here and struggled with after the fact. And I'll touch more on 2024 and what that's going to look like for me. I do want to say that it doesn't mean becoming an entrepreneur is just easy work, right? Like, it doesn't mean it's just been sitting here, everything's easy, breezy and simple. It's not. There's always, challenges and difficulties of face. So I have new challenges I face now in this new area of my career. But quite honestly, I will take all the challenges. I will take all the stressors. I will take all the insecurities and imposter syndrome that comes with this new chapter in life, because it's just made me it's not that it's made me who I am. It's allowed me to be who I've been all along. Does that make sense? Like, I finally can just be the woman that I know I should have been for so long. I'm getting emotional. I know you are. I know you are. Would it be a 2023 year review if I didn't cry? The year I cried more than I cried in my entire freaking life. I felt the need to start with that because it really shaped a lot of what came of this past year of my life and a lot of my mindset that many of you see now from what I'm sharing on social media, just in terms of sharing my vulnerabilities that I've dealt with my entire life that I maybe wasn't as open about, and just really been a passion of mine to share that in effort to maybe help other women, whether they're younger or older, to maybe inspire you or just help you not feel as alone. So honestly, my only regret with that whole decision of leaving that job as I sit here today, which has been 8 months since I left, is not doing it sooner and not believing in myself sooner at the same time, it's never too late. And so that's why a lot of the messaging and what I've been really passionate about lately this past year is kind of, I wouldn't say surprised me, but I have this new passion for wanting to share those vulnerabilities and those insecurities that I held onto for so long. Because just the little bit that I opened up about that, so many of you related to it, you found it so helpful, and I was not expecting that. I thought I was the only person who felt like this, especially at my age. But to have so many of you give me that feedback just really fired me up about continuing to share those messages and try to help as many of you as I can, even if it's just helping you not feel as alone, that maybe you're having some of those insecurities, you're dealing with imposter syndrome, or maybe I can somehow help guide the way for you to reframe your mindset and start talking to yourself nicer, because that's something I didn't do a lot of for a long time. So a lot of what you're seeing from Kara in 2023 is someone who is finally believing in herself. And if you want me to do another video down the road in terms of looking back at my hospital job and where I'm at now and how I feel about all of it, I can. But I think you'll find that last video on how I quit my job really helpful. Wanted to start with that topic because it did shape my year so much, because it was something that was on my mind effective January 1st of 2023. So it was lingering in the background of my entire beginning of the year. It was something I just didn't speak about. But this year was the year I said yes to a lot of things that scared me and that were exciting, and traveled more than I ever had. I'm going to kind of quickly go through in chronological order some of the things that I did this year, some of the standout things that really enhanced my life. The first one being, so the biggest thing that truly shaped my life in a lot of ways, and it was another thing I didn't really realize how it shaped me until I sat back and really reflected. And that was saying yes to becoming part of the Grounds app, which at the time when I said yes to it, I was like, I don't know, we'll see how things play out. And then all of a sudden it was March 2023 and Heidi's asking me if I can go to LA for 2 weeks. At this point, I was still at the hospital and I was like, yes, I can, I'll figure it out. And went to LA to film in a studio in Burbank for the Grounds app. And that whole trip also additionally changed my life. It was a once-in-a-lifetime trip, of course. I know not everyone's granted that opportunity. I'm very privileged I got that opportunity, and that out of all the people in the world Heidi Summers could have asked to be part of her app, she asked me. She asked me as one of the people to be part of her app. Again, this would have never happened if it wasn't for those of you out there that support me so much in this community. I really truly believe that a lot of these opportunities are because of you all. So thank you so much for that. That trip was an opportunity to not only be part of one of the coolest fitness apps that's out there that is just going to keep getting better, but it also afforded me 2 weeks away from real life. Like, how often do people get that opportunity to just be whisked away? Yes, I was working. Don't get me wrong. It was hard work. It was amazing experiences. I took advantage of every experience that I could while I was out there, regardless of sleep. I was like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And I also really reflected while I was out there. I wasn't just out there not thinking about my life. So this year, I really forced myself to be more introspective, which I never am. I'm really good at hiding emotions. I'm really good at compartmentalizing things and just kind of tossing them away, and I'll get back to it at some point in life if I need to, kind of thing. I can be very stoic, just like my dogs. I can just kind of keep it together. And this year I was like, no, you're not doing that. You're going to force yourself to really lean into your emotions, find out what you're feeling and why the crap you're feeling it, Kara. So when I was on that trip, it was a time for me to really think about what in my life made me happy, what experiences make me happy, what I see for my career, what I want people to think about me if they remember me after I pass away. Like, all these things were thoughts I was actively throwing into my mind, in particular while I was making the LA drive every morning. So that opportunity in itself was just such a big moment for me this past year, because it gave me confidence. There was something about being out there that I no longer was asking myself, why me anymore? I kind of shoved that away and I was like, no, just quit it with the nonsense. That's a lie you're telling yourself. you were chosen because you do have value and assets. I guess there wasn't one particular thing that happened while I was out there. It was more so me being willing to sit in the silence, to take a step back. There was a lot of moments of silence while we were there filming. Everyone filmed individually. And I took every dang moment to appreciate everything. I knew it was a once in a lifetime experience, and I got more from that experience than what I even realized I would have ever gained. So for me to be able to sit there and gain that value and really respect myself and appreciate myself and kind of finally see myself the way you guys all see me was huge. It's funny because I don't think I even realized that while I was out there that all these emotions were there. I don't think I realized the realizations I was having, if you will. It wasn't until I came back home. You know, I really missed Jason and my family quite a bit. I missed Jason and the dogs. And I just had a different appreciation for everything in my life. And if you all are able to, if you're struggling and you just aren't sure where life's taking you, if you have the ability to step away, if you have and I'm not saying you have to go on some big ritzy trip, but if you have any ability to take some time away from that day to day, get away from it and do some self-reflection, it's so eye-opening. And so that really slapped me in the face when I got back home, and it just allowed me to continue to flourish in my ability to make decisions, which has always been really hard for me. It probably always will because I'm a Libra, but it allowed me to finally see myself and make decisions based on what would make myself happy. Moving forward, I started doing a ton of traveling this year, even beyond LA. Working on my Buff Bunny collaboration. Between the Buff Bunny collaboration and then Grounds, we still had more to film. So it made it easy for me to kind of cover up that secret and do both things at the same time. So I did a lot of traveling this year. I would say pretty much after I went to LA in March, I traveled every single month for the rest of the year. So poor Jason, I left him a lot this year. It was probably like a total of 3 months of traveling. I didn't really tally it up or add it up, but I was traveling at least twice a month, I would say, to Houston. And I did some other trips too. So I was traveling to Houston. We would kind of collaborate it between like going to a content house, meeting with the design team for the 7 Deadly Sins collab, and then also getting Grounds content while I was out there. So it was really just kind of like an unbelievable experience to be able to do so many different things, working with these companies, with these brands. The learning experience of everything was huge. I always learn more about myself traveling alone too. So as much as I love family and friends, I like alone time too. And I feel that every time I traveled alone this year, it allowed me to learn more about myself. It allowed me to learn more about interacting with other people. It allowed me to learn more about interacting with people who are a different age than me. Just a lot of things that I learned about business this past year, being an entrepreneur. I try to take as much as I could out of every one of those experiences. And I'm always doing that. I try to be a sponge and just take away as much as I can. But I was really in a mental place where I finally could this past year. And in previous years of my life, I couldn't. I was kind of shut off to it because when you're so unhappy with where you're at or where you're going or not feeling like it's good enough, you don't want to take those positive experiences, if that makes sense. At least that's not how I was functioning. I don't think I was able to fully take these experiences until this year. In addition to all the travels for Grounds and Buff Bunny collection, after leaving my job, I got to do fun things and actually enjoy them and appreciate them, such as going to New York City with my sister and my best friend Erin and go see Blink-182, who went back on tour. It was like everything was aligning for me this year. They got reunited in the year of me. It was like, and I just got to enjoy those experiences, whereas normally I couldn't because I was always dreading what I was coming back to, sadly. And then really cool, June 1st started the Driven series. And that's a series I'm really dang proud of. And even now, you guys, I still get comments like, how'd you get so shredded? I'm like, it's all documented on the internet. Go check out the Driven series. So that was a really exciting series for me. And even better than that, with documenting that series, was the fact that we called it the summer of 99, Jason and I, because that was the summer we first started dating and literally spent every waking second that we could together just being kids and being goofy and falling in love. And it kind of felt like we had to do that all over again this year. It was just really special to finally, Jason's been working from home for 2 years, and we always stayed in contact quite a bit when I was at work. So, he would share with me the days that he would take the dogs out swimming or go for a snowy walk or whatever the excursion may be. And I was always so sad that I just felt like I was missing out on those things, But I needed to be responsible and I needed to do the responsible thing. But, I finally feel like I did what was best for my happiness. And being able to have the opportunities this summer with making memories and being able to really feel like I had a summer. I haven't had that since I was a kid. And so that was probably one of the coolest things. And I know it's not going away. I get to actually spend time with the people that mean the most to me now, instead of chronically having to say no to events or opportunities because of how people at my job may have viewed me. Those were a lot of the glooming thoughts that used to kind of run my mind and ultimately impact my decision making versus making decisions based on what makes me happy. So summertime was just really amazing for me to be able to just genuinely be in experiences. And I put myself out there. I was like, what do I have to lose? I'm going to reach out to Ghost just one more time. So end of July, I reached out to Ghost one more time, sent a little email like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Heard nothing. And I'm like, hey, at least I tried. This is how I'm living my life now. I'm going to put myself out there for the things I want. I'm going to say no to the things I don't want. And that's cool. If it doesn't align, it doesn't align. And then fast forward to, I think it was mid-August, I get a DM from Ghost wanting to work with me. And I shared those details in that video as well. But it was just wow, it kind of does feel like once you start believing in yourself, once you start doing the things that make you happy, it just has a ripple effect in your life in terms of how it impacts the other people that you're around. It impacts your work and what you're doing. And I just feel like it shows. And maybe that didn't make a difference to Ghost. I don't know. I like to think somehow in some way it aligned with the timing and it was meant to be the way it was. So it was so cool to finally be offered the opportunity to work with Ghost and become a sponsored athlete effective September 1st. And I am still working with them to this day, which is amazing. So code Kara 20% off. Thank you all, because a lot of you were so funny. I love that you would post yourself trying to enter in my code before I worked with them. And you're like, it doesn't work. And you guys would tag me in Ghost and be like, hey, she needs a code. So I just need to thank you all. Another opportunity wouldn't have had if it wasn't for you all rooting me on and supporting me in that process. And October 2023 was just a highlight month. I'll never forget. Everything hit me at once in October. It was starting the month off with my milestone birthday, turning 40, which was a huge deal to me. And then everything happened. It was my Buff Bunny collab. It was finally out there in the world. And at the same time, if you didn't know, Jay and I both got freaking COVID. And we're just, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do and work through it, right? So I'm really proud of us in that moment that, we could have looked at it like, oh, poor us, we're sick in this once of a lifetime opportunity. And we're like, screw you, COVID. We're gonna just do this even harder and even better. We worked our butts off with the content that we made. And I just had so much fun with that opportunity and with you guys supporting the 7 Deadly Sins launch. 1 week after, not even 1 week after that, it was my launch happened and 2 days later Grounds was announced, right? So it was I didn't have time to even take it all in. I don't even know if I've still had time to take it all in, if I'm being honest with you, but Grounds was finally announced to the world. So we were able to share it with you all. And then it launched a week later, I want to say in October. So went back down to Houston for the launch party. In the end of the month, Jay and I, got to go on our vacation, which celebrated milestone again. Our 15-year wedding anniversary was October 10th. At the same time, though, Heidi and Christian were doing their engagement party down in Houston and the grounds launch party and grounds content. So I actually had to leave Jason during our wedding anniversary. Went down to Houston to celebrate with Heidi and then do grounds content in the launch party. It was so cool, such an experience. And then I came back, I think we had like a week, and then Jay and I took our annual Corey vacation to Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. And that was a trip for the record books, I would say. Would you? That was a really good trip, not only celebrating your anniversary, but you know it's a good trip when you take 8 full days, 8 days. And neither of us were ready to come home. We were like, how did that happen? How are we already going home? I mean, we missed the dogs, but it was like, well, I would have been okay staying away just a little bit more. So that's when you know you need it. And that's when you know you had a great time. So it was a really cool trip that we got to meet some of you guys at. We got to meet up with Rose and go through Halloween Horror Nights with her, which was so much fun. Rose, let me know when you got your trip booked to New York. Come on down, or come on up, I should say. We got to hang out with Amanda and her boyfriend, fellow RD and Buff Bunny lover. And then we also, coincidentally enough, the Olympia was going on. So Heidi and Christian were down there and we got to go through Halloween Horror Nights with them, which was hysterical because Heidi's a big scaredy cat. And I thought it was just kind of a joke. Oh no, she's legitimately scared. It was so funny. And Christian just like laughed at her the entire time. But anyways, it was just such a good trip for both of us, especially because, you know, we both work at home and work with each other and we're just little social bees, but also got to have a lot of quality time with each other. Another cool highlight I just want to mention is that Jason and I did do a few videos on this, with Jason opening up more about his health and the chronically ill. I don't know if I want to call it a series, but we did a few videos on this, and I was really appreciative for Jason doing that on this channel because a lot of you also responded to that and found it really helpful. It was another area that made many of you not feel as alone and you could relate to it. So I think that was something that really stands out in my mind as well as we navigate chronic illness and things like Lyme disease that just aren't much discussed. They aren't well known and people don't know what it means. So I think it's really important that we got to use this platform to talk about it more, and you guys seem to really enjoy those videos too. Kind of the last highlight ending out the year, I'll say, is just the fact that I got to spend time with Stanley. Christmas time was always something that was really tough for me, being in an administrative role. You couldn't really be the one to take time off because you're the boss. I always allowed other people time off and never really had any for myself. In the year prior, that was a struggle for me. That was one of my deal breakers. It was really, I was like, what am I doing not being able to be with family at Christmas time? You're only so lucky to have these opportunities. They're not always here to see and be with your family. So to say no to that stuff just felt like it went against every moral being within my body. It didn't feel right. So this year, being able to be at home with my family and actually have my family come up here and spend time with them, and then go home and spend time with Jason's family and not have to stress any of it, not have to just feel gross about what I have to go back to, right? So for me, it was like just being able to finally be involved with my family and do the things that mean the most to me. 2024's got a lot coming. I've got a lot of work to do in my life, and I will share all of that with you here. I've got a lot of big goals, and I have teased a bit that Jason and I have a separate venture that we dove into this past year too. Pretty much right after I quit my job. I will be sharing that with you here probably this year. There's some stuff that Jay and I are finalizing, and I feel like when we're comfortable with where everything's at and rocking and rolling, then we'll definitely share more details. I think we'll be vlogging some stuff soon, so once we can share it, we'll have a whole vlog on it to share with you guys. But it's been scary, but also in a weird way feels like what was meant to be done. So more to come on that. I have a lot of other things I need to work on this year. This is a new path for me, and I'm still figuring it out to this day. I still have struggles. So I just shared with you a ton of highs from the past year, but I also shared with you how you guys all changed my life. And I'm eternally grateful to all of you for that. And if there's anything I can ever do to repay you all, I don't know how. Yeah, I want to keep doing more, which is why, you know, when people are like, what are you doing on your own now? Like, what's your business? It's a weird question to answer for me still. I've really leaned into the content creator space. It's something I focused more on leaving my job than being a dietitian, if you will, because I'm really enjoying it. It's really fun for me. It's exciting. It's hard work. It's not easy. It is stressful, but I've really enjoyed that aspect and been focusing more on my dietitian content, kind of being a free service for the most part to many of you between what I share on social media. I still do take some clients, but I'm still trying to figure out how to best scale that dietitian side of me. So I think 2024 is a great time for me to have things now that all my secrets almost are out in the open. I think I can really kind of keep fine-tuning my goals and where I see my life going. And that kind of sounds weird sometimes when I think about it, to sit here as a 40-year-old woman and be like, I don't know exactly where I see myself in 5 years. I don't know what the next year of my life brings, but honestly, in a weird way, it's exactly how I want it to be. It's kind of giving me this fresh start and this ability to be true to myself and not feel like I'm forced into a box anymore of one way I have to go and one career path. It's like, sky's the limit and I'm gonna figure it out. And I, at the end of the day, am confident that, you know, all this shit could just burn down and I'm gonna be fine. I can figure it out. I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm independent, I got this. So that's just kind of how I'm taking on life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this year in review. Like I said, there's a lot more to come in 2024. I'd love for you to post down below some of your highlights from 2023. And again, I just thank you all for being part of this community, part of the Corey crew, always supporting Jason and myself. It means the world to us. Thank you for changing my life. And I'll see you guys in the next video.